Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing you another action figure review. Today we're going to be looking at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Killer Croc action figure. Now this is not the first time they've released this Killer Croc figure. He was originally released in a 5-pack multi-pack GCPD Rogues Gallery. And this set was pretty expensive and pretty rare, so it sold out quick and it was almost impossible to get on the secondary market, and no retailer still had it. I noticed a lot of fans were hoping they would re-release these figures, and honestly, I didn't think they ever would, but here they are. They released all the villains from that pack as singles. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. This here is Killer Croc, as you can see in the background, from Batman the Animated Series. They have released a Killer Croc from the new Batman Adventures, Batman the Animated Series, DC Collectibles. This is figure 47, Killer Croc. You can see him in there. He's got what looks like 4 additional hands and no other accessories. He actually looks really cool and really large. One of my complaints about these DC Collectibles animated figures is they're kind of small, but this guy here is definitely going to fit in with your 6 or 7 inch figures. The guy was a little bit big in the show, which is why he's bigger in here. So nothing going on really on the side here. Batman the Series Killer Croc. The back side here, it simply shows Batman the Animated Series logo. So with no further ado, let's crack this guy open. And I did get 2 of these figures, one to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch Batman action figure collection. And then here is the entire wave, 2 of each figure, one of which for me to open, and one of which for me to keep my unopened collection. At the bottom here, we've got 2 of the GCPD Rogues Gallery packs. Obviously I opened one of them, and I kept one unopened. This actually makes for a kind of cool diorama in your city. It's a building, you can stand figures on top of it. It's got some jail cells here. Originally, this set was retailed at $175, and if you do the math, even if you're saying $30 a figure, which is a ridiculous price, 5 figures, $150 is less than $175, so you got to actually pay quite a bit for the packaging as well. This set was overpriced. I got mine at dcbservice.com for $118. I got a considerable discount there. So I was really happy to get these guys. The set was great, very unique. The figures were pretty good as well. And here's my unopened set taking its rightful place in front of my Batman-related comics with my other recently acquired Batman action figures that are unopened. You can see them with some of the other recently released Batman the Animated Series figures. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He does come with 4 additional hands, totaling 6 interchangeable hands. And you know what? That's it. No traditional accessories for this guy. But before we look at all his hands, let's take a look at the actual figure. So I must say, I think this guy looks really cool. Waylon Jones capturing the look from the animated series. Kind of gorilla-ish, kind of scaly. He's got all these little scales and lumps on his back. I think it looks really, really cool. Huge, huge smile, weird grin, kind of like Batman the Animated Series. You can see his eyes here. This guy just looks pretty cool. I also really like the fact that this guy is large and oversized, so he's going to fit in with your 6.5 inch action figures, no problem. Just got kind of some regular pants on, barefoot. He does have an ab crunch. A lot of things I'm liking that I'm seeing on this guy. Overall, looks like it's going to be a solid figure. And I wanted to mention that I got my figure from dcbservice.com. That stands for discount comicbookservice.com. The reason I pre-order my DC Collectibles figures from there is they offer you 33% off the suggested retail price. This guy was $28, which is just crazy high. But I was able to get him for $19 from dcbservice.com. The only catch is you have to pre-order quite a bit ahead of time, and they do not allow cancellations. But it's nice to be able to pay less for a DC Collectibles figure than you do for a Mattel figure. And then here's this guy broken down as far as he can go with all of his removable parts detached. So next, let's go and check out all of his hands. Here he is wearing his fisted hands, getting ready to pummel somebody. And his next pair of hands here, the best way I can describe them is maybe his grabbing hands. If you were to grab somebody or get ready to throw something. And then here he is with his semi-open gripping hands. I guess these are intended to grip the accessory that he does not come with. Now that we've taken a good look at his accessories, next let's check out the height of this figure. So this guy here, from bottom to top, is sitting at about 6.75 inches, which translates to about 17 centimeters. Next, let's check out this guy's articulation. So, starting with his head here, of course, it's able to go around from side to side, and then it can look up about that far, down about that far. Shoulders on a ball joint, then go at a full 90 degrees, no problem. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got single jointed elbows. They can go in pretty much 90 degrees, not quite. And there's a swivel at the top there. Then his wrist here, it can swivel around, and it's hinged as well. He has a traditional kind of ab crunch here, in and out. The top there, it's got a little bit of a swivel there, not a huge range of motion though. His legs, they go out about this far, not quite 90 degrees, does a splits. Can go forward, about that far, not too great. Back, that far. He has single jointed knees. Go in about that far, once again, not quite 90 degrees. And then his foot here simply rotates around, nothing else, doesn't go up, down, doesn't rock. Next, let's check this guy out, compare with some other action figures. Starting off with some other Killer Croc action figures. On the right hand side, we have the single carded Killer Croc. On the left hand side, we have the previously released Killer Croc from the 5-pack. Notice their skin is a completely different color, as are their pants. I'm very happy they differentiated between the two releases. Here he is next to the rest of this series of Batman animated figures from DC Collectibles. And then on the right hand side are all 4 of the single carded releases, and on the left are all 4 of these guys from the 5-pack. Notice most of them have some substantial paint differences. Bane is most similar to the previous release. Here he is with the new Batman Adventures Killer Croc. Here he is next to an old Kenner Killer Croc from Batman the Animated Series. And here he is next to all the different DC Direct and DC Collectibles Killer Croc figures that I have. And then here he is next to all the different Killer Croc figures I have from Mattel. Then here he is next to a couple of action figures that are not Killer Croc figures, but I use them as Killer Croc figures. On the left here, we've got a Marvel Legends Lizard from a Spider-Man film. And on the right, we've got a mutated wrestling figure. And here he is next to my entire Killer Croc action figure collection. Here he is next to several different crocodile action figures that can sort of work as accessories for this Killer Croc. This Fortnite character here is named the Hybrid, and he's like a dragon lizard man. Definitely kind of reminded me of Croc. And here he is taking his place on the Killer Croc shelf in my Batman room. Here he is hanging on the sewer, one of the only places he can sort of feel he can hide from the rest of society. And here he is eating somebody's severed arm. And then I remember that certain episode of Batman the Animated Series called Almost Got Him. All 5 of these rogues were sitting around playing cards, telling stories about how they almost killed Batman. Each one of the rogues had this great, intense, almost got him, real close call to killing Batman story. And Croc came his turn. He's always been sort of portrayed as a dumb villain, and he simply said something like, "Well, I threw a rock at him." And then speaking of almost got him and throwing a rock at Batman, And here's Croc next to the Batman the Animated Series Bat Family. And here he is next to the new Batman Adventures family. And here he is next to the McFarlane DC Multiverse 7-inch scale Batman the Animated Series Batman. And you know what? These guys really aren't too far off. Yes, Croc should be taller than Batman, but as far as actual figures go, there's probably less than a half-inch difference here. And then here he is next to the entire collection of Batman Rogues from DC Collectibles, Batman the Animated Series. Quite a diverse and great looking group, but I'd love to see more. Maybe Clock King, Maxi Zeus, Red Claw. There's really no limit to how far they can take this line. Next, let's check him out compared with some other action figure lines from different various companies to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise. Here he is first, next to some of his DC Collectibles and DC Direct brothers. Here in front of you are 5 different action figures from DC Direct and DC Collectibles. Then, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. And now, next to some McFarlane toys. Here he is next to some NECA figures. And here he is next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And then here he is next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. And then here he is next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics or Multiverse figures. And if you look at him, I think he scales up great with these guys. Then next to some Mafex figures. And now next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. Then with some Jazzwares figures. Overall, I must say I am totally feeling this figure. He is probably my favorite of the wave. And a big part of that is because he's so tall that he fits in with the rest of my collection pretty nicely. If you want a Croc for DC Universe Classics, this guy will work. This guy is bigger than the other animated series figures. I like his articulation, the fact that he has an ab crunch. Most of the animated series figures do not have that. I like his look to his face. I like the scaly aspects to him. He's just sitting there in some jeans or blue pants, just sort of ordinary looking. I definitely prefer the Batman Animated Series designs to the new Batman Adventures designs, so he's hits a home run there as well. If I were to rate this figure, I'd probably go ahead and give him a 7.5 out of 10. I do like this figure. A lot of the Batman Animated Series figures have kind of disappointed me with how small and fragile they are, but this guy here is not like that at all. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.